Good afternoon, mathematicians. Hi, my name is Mrs. Sears, and I want to thank you for joining us here at Home with APS. Today, I'm going to be reading a story for you. It is called Math Curse, and it is by John Sciesca and Lane Smith. Now, before I start reading, I want you guys to think about some of the math that's going to be in this story is math that we see every day in our life. And this particular story is about a little boy who feels like he has been cursed by his teacher to see math in his everyday life and everyday situations. Let's go ahead and begin. Math Curse by John Sciesca and Lane Smith, published by Viking Publishing. I'm going to put on my glasses here. On Monday, in math class, Mrs. Fibonacci says, you know, you can think of almost everything as a math problem. On Tuesday, I start having problems. I wake up at 7:15. It takes me 10 minutes to get dressed, 15 minutes to eat my breakfast, and 1 minute to brush my teeth. Suddenly, it's a problem. If my bus leaves at 8 o'clock, will I make it on time? How many minutes in an hour? How many teeth in one mouth? I look in my closet, and the problems just get worse. I have 1 white shirt, 3 blue shirts, 3 striped shirts, and 1 ugly plaid shirt my Uncle Zeno sent me. How many shirts is that altogether? How many shirts would I have if I threw away that awful plaid shirt? Well, when will Uncle Zeno ever quit sending me such ugly shirts? I'm getting a little worried. Everything seems to be a math problem. I take the milk out for my cereal, and I wonder, how many quarts in a gallon? How many pints in a quart? How many inches in a foot? How many feet in a yard? How many yards in a neighborhood? How many inches in a pint? How many feet in my shoes? I don't even bother to take out the cereal. I don't want to know how many flakes in a bowl. Mrs. Fibonacci has obviously put a math curse on me. Everything I look at or think about has become a math problem. I try to get on the bus without thinking about anything, but there are 5 kids already on the bus. 5 kids get on at my stop. 5 more kids get on at the next stop. And 5 more get on at the last stop. True or false? What is the bus driver's name? Mrs. Fibonacci has this chart of what month everyone's birthday is in. Which month has the most birthdays? Which month has the fewest? Why doesn't February have a W? Don't you think this chart looks sort of like a row of buildings? Do you ever look at clouds and think that there's something else? What does this ink blot look like to you? I have no idea. The whole morning is one problem after another. There are 24 kids in my class. I just know someone is going to bring cupcakes to share. We sit in 4 rows with 6 desks in each row. What if Miss Fibonacci rearranges the desks to make 6 rows, 8 rows, 3 rows, 2 rows? I count the 24 kids in our class again, this time by 2s. Jack scratches his paper with 1 finger. How many fingers are in our class? Casey pulls Eric's ear. How many ears are in our class? The new girl, Kelly, sticks her tongue out at me. How many tongues are in our class? I'm about to really lose it when the lunch bell finally rings. Unfortunately for me, lunch is pizza and apple pie. Each pizza is cut into 8 equal slices. Each pie is cut into 6 equal slices. And you know what that means. Fractions. If I want 2 slices of pizza, should I ask for 1/8, 2/8, or 2 slices of pizza? What if another way to say 1/2 of an apple pie is 2/6, 3/6? La moitié d'une tarte à pomme. Ooh, which tastes greater, 1/2 of a pizza or 1/2 of an apple pie? We haven't even studied fractions yet, so I'll have to take 12 carrot sticks 3 at a time and eat them 2 at a time. In the afternoon, every subject is a problem. Social studies is a geography problem. The Mississippi River is about 4,000 kilometers long, and M&M is about 1 centimeter long. There are 100 centimeters in a meter, and there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Estimate how many M&Ms it would take to measure the length of the Mississippi River. Estimate how many M&Ms you would eat if you have to measure the Mississippi River with M&Ms. Bonus, can you spell the Mississippi without any M&Ms? Oh, all these questions. English is a word problem. If mail plus box equals mailbox, does lipstick minus stick equal lip? Does tuna fish plus tuna fish equal a forna fish? Phys ed is a sports problem. In 1919, Babe Ruth hit 29 home runs, batted .322, and made $40,000. In 1991, the average Major League Baseball player hit 15 home runs, batted a .275, and made $840,000. Wow. Circle the correct answer. Is Babe Ruth less than the average modern baseball player? Babe Ruth greater than the average modern baseball player? Or is Babe Ruth equal to the average modern baseball player? In art, we finally get to relax with a connect the dot picture. But here's my picture. Too bad it turns out to be a connect the ancient Mayan numerals picture. Huh. Math is just a total problem. Mrs. Fibonacci says there are many ways to count. She asks us to give her some examples. Russell counts on his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Molly says 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Mrs. Fibonacci says, I always count 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. But on the planet Tetra, kids have only 2 fingers to count on each hand. They count 1, 2, 3, 10. And on the planet Binary, kids only have 1 finger on each hand. They count 1, 10. Oh, what are the next 5 numbers in the sequence above? Do you think Miss Fibonacci has been on the planet Tetra? How would you bowl if you lived on the planet Binary? Get it? Bowl, binary. We are just about to go home when Rebecca remembers the special birthday cupcakes her mom has made. Remember, there are 24 kids in the class. Rebecca has 24 cupcakes. So what's the problem? Well, Rebecca wants Miss Fibonacci to have a cupcake too. Everyone is going crazy trying to figure out what fraction of cupcakes each person will get. I'm the first to figure out the answer. I raise my hand and tell Miss Fibonacci, I'm allergic to cupcakes. Everyone believes me and gets 1 cupcake each. No 1 0 has to figure out on any of those fractions. I stagger out of school. I'm a math zombie now. I have to find something to break this math curse. I decide to try chocolate. My favorite candy bar is usually 50 cents. But guess what? Today it's on sale for 50% off. Now I'm looking at a quadratic equation. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, where a is the number of letters in your first name, b is your age, and c is your shoe size. Heck, I decide not to buy any chocolate. I'll buy licorice instead. I pull out my money. I have a $5 bill, a $1 bill, a quarter, and a penny. George Washington is on both the quarter and the $1 bill. Abraham Lincoln is on the penny and the $5 bill. So which one of these is true? A, 1 Washington equals 25 Lincolns. B, 5 Washingtons equal 1 Lincoln. C, 1 Washington equals 100 Lincolns. Or D, 1 Lincoln equals 20 Washingtons. And don't forget to show your work. Extra credit. How do you think that Thomas Jefferson would feel about all of this? Guess we'll never know. I am now a raving math lunatic. What if this keeps up for the whole year? How many minutes of math madness would it be? What's your problem, says my sister. 365 days times 24 hours times 60 minutes, I snarl. Dinner brings me no relief. While passing the mashed potatoes, Mom says, "What your father says is false." Dad helps himself to more potatoes and says, "What your mother says is true." I think about that for a minute. If what Mom says is true, then what Dad says is false. But if what Dad says is false, then what Mom says isn't true. And if what Mom says isn't true, then what Dad says isn't false. But that can't be true because he says that's what Mom says is true, and she says that that's what he says is false. Oh, can that be true? I think about that, and then I think about it some more, and then I think I ought to go to bed. So I have to undo 8 buttons plus shoelaces. I subtract 2 shoes. I multiply 2 socks and divide by 3 pillows to get 5 sheeps, remainder 1, which is all I need to count before I fall asleep. Then the problems really began. I dream I'm trapped in a room with no doors and no windows, and the room is covered in the lifetime of problems. I have only 1 piece of chalk. How do I get out? I'm about to give up when the answer to my problem comes to me. Fractions. I break the chalk in half, and then I put the 2 halves together. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. I put the hole in the wall, and I jump out. I'm free! Ha! I wake up Wednesday morning at 7:15. It takes me 10 minutes to get dressed, 15 minutes to eat my breakfast, and 1 minute to brush my teeth. My bus leaves at 8. What time will I be ready? 7:41. No problem. I've broken the math curse. I can solve any problem. And life is just great until science class, when Mr. Newton says, "You know, you can think of almost everything as a science experiment." Oh, I'm cursed. cursed again. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that story, the math curse. We're going to think about math and the different ways of the math curse. And we're going to go through a few of the problems that the little boy went through when he was trying to break the math curse. As you can think of, there's probably 100 different ways that math could be around you in your everyday life. Let's just think about a few different ways. So behind me are some of the problems that the little boy faced inside the math curse, and I would like to try and break the math curse from all of us today. The more you know about math, the more you can break the math curse. All right, we talked about this part of the story. It was right in the very, very beginning. I woke up at 7:15. It takes 10 minutes to get dressed, 15 minutes to eat breakfast, and 1 minute to brush my teeth. What time am I ready for school? What are some of those important words that we're going to need to remember when we're figuring this out? I'm going to go ahead and underline some of them. So I woke up at 7:15 a.m. That's going to be very important. We're going to need to know that's when we started. It takes 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, let's go ahead and circle that because we're going to need to know we're going to have to do something with that 10 minutes. Do we need to add it or subtract it? You're correct. You said, yes, we're going to have to add that to the time. 15 minutes, it's going to take us to eat breakfast. Is that going to be another adding or subtracting? Again, yes, we're adding this all to the time because we know he's got to get out to the bus by 8 o'clock, right? And it's going to take him 1 more minute to brush his teeth because we're not going to go outside and eat our breakfast without having brushed our teeth. So we're going to need to make sure we brush our teeth before we go outside. What time is he ready for school? Well, let's see. So if we had 7:15 in the morning and we added 10 more minutes to that 7:15, what time would we be at right now? 10 and the 15 would give us 7:25. If we had to get dressed and it took us 15 minutes to get dressed, we would need to add that to that 7:25. And now we would be at, you guessed it, we're going to add that 5 over here and make that 7:30, and then 10 more would be 7:40. All right, and 1 more minute to brush our teeth. How long does it take you to brush your teeth? I thought so. I take usually about 1 minute to brush my teeth, and then I also have to gargle with a little bit of mouthwash so that I'm nice and minty fresh before I leave the door. But if it's 7:40 and I know it takes me 1 minute to do that, I'm going to be out the door and ready for my bus at 7:41 a.m. Did you get that, boys and girls? I use math to help me solve that math curse. Okay. All right. I have 1 white shirt. I remember when he was getting dressed, he had this problem. I have 1 white shirt, 3 blue shirts, 3 striped shirts, and 1 plaid shirt. Although he did mention that the plaid shirt was pretty ugly. I remember that. How many shirts would I have if I threw away that plaid shirt? Well, first we've got to figure out how many shirts that he has. He has 1 white, 3 blue, 3 striped, and 1 ugly plaid shirt. So if I'm putting those numbers together, I first have to think about what would they add up together to be. For me, I like doing my doubles first. So I did 3 and 3, I know that's 6, plus 1 more white and 1 more plaid would give me 8 shirts all together. But I'm going to throw away one of the ugly plaid shirts that my Uncle Zeno gave me. So I'm going to have 7 shirts now total. 7 shirts. Wow, that's a lot of different combinations if you think about it that I could probably put with different jeans. The numbers are all around. He wants to go get some cereal, so he has some milk. And he's thinking about it, and I'm wondering how many quarts are in a gallon? How many pints are in a quart? Have you ever wondered? I just think about the gallon man when I do this. And the gallon man has always been, when I have a gallon, I have 4 quarts in my gallon. So that's a G for the gallon, and I drew some Q's inside there. So I always know I have 4 quarts in my gallon. And then inside my quart, I always have 2 pints. So if I have 2 pints inside there, I would have 8 pints altogether in my gallon. Wow, this math is really making my brain hurt. I hope I can still break the curse. What about when he got into his bus for the day? When he got on the bus, there were 5 kids already on. 5 kids got on at his stop. 5 more get on at the last stop. How many kids ride the bus? What numbers are we going to choose? Well, good thing we have some 5s. Those 5s are going to help me figure out how many are on the bus. Let's see. So we have 5 kids already. 5 get on at his stop. And 5 more get on at the last stop. Let's see. Would that be 5, 10, 15? He has 15 kids that ride on his bus. He has 24 students in his classroom. There are 24 that sit in 4 rows with 6 desks in each row. I wonder if I could draw that out to see if that's correct. Let me try it. So 4 rows, and there's 6 in each row. Could that be 24? I could count by 1s, but maybe it's smarter to count by 6s because there's 6 desks in each row. So let's see, 6, 12, 18, 24. Well, they're right. That does make 24. So I guess 4 times 6 is 24. What about 8 rows? Would that work with 24? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we said, I know there's 8, so I have to go 8. Let's see. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, I'm not to 24 yet. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I think this is a different math problem. So we know we have 24 students. And if we had 8 rows, we're going to need to divide that 24 by 8 rows. How do we know how many students or how many desks are in there? Well, let's just look. We know there's got to be 3. When you have 8 rows, there's got to be 3 desks in order for it to make 24. So I guess 8 times 3 must be 24. Oh my gosh, this is making so much sense. I noticed something though. There's 3 rows in the next problem. Do you think this could be related? So if I have 24 students and 8 desks, and I'm going to have 3 desks in each row, and 8 times 3 is 24, I wonder if it's the same thing, but in reverse. Could 3 rows have 8 desks and still make 24? We can check it out, but I think we're going to be right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. And then let's go ahead and put 8 in each. Let's do some quick counting with those math figures. Let's see if we did 8, 16, 24, we'd be right. Oh my goodness. The last one, 2 rows. Geez, have you ever had 24 students in 2 rows? That's got to be a pretty wide classroom. Let's think about it though. Can we do it? So if we had 24 divided by 2, I want to go ahead and make my 2 rows. Let's see, can I do it? This would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Let's see if that's right. How many would be in each row? Can we figure it out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There'd be 12 in each of the rows. So that must mean that 2 times 12 is 24. And if we figured out the 3 and the 8, this would be the same. 12, we can turn it around and make 12 times 2 is also 24. What an interesting little fact family we have there. Too bad I didn't eat those cupcakes, because then having to figure out the fraction of the cupcakes would be crazy. 24 kids again by 2s. What did we say? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. How would I figure out the fingers? How would I figure out those fingers? Well, how many fingers do you guys have? I know I have 10. Would I have to do 24 times 10? How could I do that? I could count by tens maybe. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's only 10 of them. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. That's 20. 210, 220, 230, 240. So 24 times 10 would be 240. Wow, all I had to do was add a 0 at the end of that number? Who'd have thunk it? What about ears? 24 times, I don't know how many ears. Hopefully everybody has 2. I have 1 here and 1 here. Oh, 24 times 2. This might be a little bit difficult. Let me think about that. Maybe I could do 20 times 2, and that would be 20, 40 if I skip counted. And then I just need to figure out 2 times 4. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 8. So if I added those 2 together, that would be 48. So there must be 48 ears in the room. What about tongues? Well, I only have 1 tongue. So hopefully this is simple. Let's see. 24 times 1, that's got to be 24, because any number times 1 is always going to be the same number. Is it almost lunchtime? Because when it's lunchtime now, I have more math to do. If my pizza at lunch is cut into 8 equal slices, and I want 2 slices, what fraction of the pizza would I eat? How could I do this problem? Let me think. Well, I know a pizza is round. If I was going to cut it in half, I could cut it down the middle. If I wanted to cut it in fourths, I could cut it again through the middle. If I wanted to make sure I had 8 pieces, maybe I could cut it again from the side and another time from the other side. Let's see what that works out to be. Do I have 8 slices now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I want 2 slices, so I'm wondering, how much could that be? ooh, I see something. But I have to think about this. There are 8 whole slices, okay, in the whole pizza. How many slices did I choose? I chose 2 8s. But if we remember from our drawing, what did we do when we cut it in half and then cut it in quarters? We noticed that 2 8s can also be one of those quarters. So if we had just 4 slices and we called it a quarter, I would have eaten 1 whole quarter of that pizza. Equivalent fractions, who'd have thunk it? Oh, this math curse is getting to me. I think I'm going to be a math lunatic. What if this keeps me up? What if this keeps up all year? How many minutes of math madness is that going to be? Can you think about this? Let's see. How many days of the year do we normally have? 365. How many hours in a day? I think there's 24 hours in a day. How many minutes in an hour? You guys know that one, boys and girls? Let me fix my chart here. It decided to... How many minutes in an hour? This is not going to hold up there. I'm going to do it this way. It is holding kind of there. We'll have to work it there as we can. So 365 days out of the year, 24 hours of the day, and 60 minutes in an hour. Boy, this could take me all day to figure this out. And I forgot this year was also a leap year, so really we could have 366 up there. Let's see if we can figure this out. Maybe we'll do it one piece at a time. Let's see if this will stay better. All right, so 365 times 24. We're going to do these in pieces. What could I do first? Maybe I can look back to how I did this last problem over here. 365. I know first I'm going to have to do it by 20. There must be a better way to do this. Must be a quicker way to think about doing this. Let's see. 360. Maybe I can do it in an area. So I know this is 360, and I know this is 20, and then I still got to do 5 more, right? So let's see. Well, 365 times 2, we're going to have 730. But remember from our 10 before, all we had to do was just add that 0 over there. So we have that. Let's see. Anything times 0 is going to be 0. So let's see where we can do from that. So now we have 7,300 hours. What are we going to do when we have to times it by that 60? Oh, no. I know, again, we're going to have to do some more math on this. Let's think. We've got 0, 0. Oh, my goodness. 0, 0. When we're doing it by that. Oh, another 0, another 0. 306 times the 60 is going to give us that 18. Let's see, 43. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to be doing this for 438,000 minutes. I'm never going to be free. How am I ever going to break this math curse? What am I going to do? I guess I'm going to have to keep doing some more math. Boys and girls, do you think you could write your own problem about a math curse that you have experienced? Let's come back here in just a moment and we'll see if we can come up with a problem that would be a math curse. Thank you guys for coming back, and now we're going to talk a little bit more about writing our own problem since we have been cursed with this math problem. And remember, this is all based on our book from Math Curse by John Scieszka and Lane Smith and published by Viking Publishing. So remember in the story, the little boy, his teacher had taught him about math being everywhere around in the world. And he came home and he thought, oh, I'm cursed. Now I see math everywhere. He had some trouble figuring out where he needed to go in the morning, to the students on his bus that he saw, to what kind of clothes he was going to be wearing, how many students were in his class, if he had a slice of pizza for lunch, what would the fraction be? All kinds of different problems that he encountered from thinking about his life in terms of math. So what I would like you guys to do today is we're actually going to write about our own problem and think about how it might relate to some math that we see around in the world. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about some ideas in your brain about things that you do. This could be a daily schedule that you have. You know, for instance, what time do you wake up in the morning? When do you eat breakfast? Do you take a shower? Do you brush your teeth? Do you have to get dressed? Do you make your lunch? What could be some of the things that you're doing in that schedule that could become a math problem that you would have to figure out? Could also be questions. I remember in the book that they were talking about the planet Tetra, and they counted 1, 2, and 3, 10. Maybe I could be looking at what would be on the planet Tetra. Are there a certain number system that goes along with that? So maybe I would have a problem that's about something that I heard about or learned about. Perhaps it could be, something that I'm curious about. So these would be questions that you have. The other thing might be situations that you face. Maybe you wanted to go and buy your favorite Lego toy piece, and you have so much money, and you don't know, do I have enough money to buy this Lego piece, or do I need to have more money to do that? Maybe it's a question of, I'm going to go out and make some money or do something, and I need to know how many of something I'm going to do in order to make that money. It could be chores in my house. Maybe I get a quarter for washing the dishes. Maybe I get 50 cents if I pick up my clothes and put them in the laundry. And I'm trying to make $2, let's say, to buy my favorite pack of gum or a Lego piece. So I'm going to have to think about what are some situations that I have in my everyday life that I could figure out what would be my math problem that goes along with this particular situation. Could even be, I'm going to go for a walk outside. And while I'm out there and I'm walking, I'm noticing the clouds. Maybe I'm counting clouds. Maybe I'm counting trees. Maybe I see an animal in the block. Maybe there could be an animal like 2 dogs, a cat, a chicken, a horse. Who knows? Could be all kinds of things that I see out there during my walk. But we're going to think about what could be a math problem that you could come up with. And then we're going to draw a picture to represent that and see if we can now break that math curse. Because the more math we know, the more math we can use to solve our curse. So as I was thinking about this the other day, I was really thinking about, well, what could be a problem that I might have that I could figure out at home? And one of the things I thought about was in my room, I noticed that I have certain dimensions inside of my room. And I started to wonder, could I figure out the perimeter of my room? Now, if you remember, a perimeter is something that is around the outside of the room. If I'm going to walk the perimeter, I would be walking around the whole dimensions of whatever it is I was measuring. So if I was thinking about perimeter and being around my room, I would first have to know those measurements of all the different walls and all the different places in my room. Well, I can tell you, I have 4 corners in my room. So of those 4 corners that I have in my room, I had to measure from the corner to another corner, and then from that corner to another corner, and from that corner to another corner, and from that corner to another corner, in order to get those measurements to then figure out the perimeter of my room. So let me see. This is what I came up with when I had my problem that I was going to figure out. So on my math problem, I walked around my room and found I have 11 feet by 13 feet by 11 feet and 13 feet. These were all the 3 corners. These were all the 4 corners that I walked around in my room. So let's see. If I know one of the walls, we want to draw this, one of the walls had 11 feet. Let's do that. The next one had 13 feet. My other one had 11 feet. And this was kind of interesting because on this one I actually had a door that swung out. But truthfully, all the way through, it was 13 feet. So let me think about that. If I wanted to figure out how long it took me to walk completely around my room, what would I need to do with those numbers, knowing that I'm trying to find the perimeter of my room? Well, I think I'm going to have to figure that out. Let's see. Could I add those numbers together? Might make sense, because if I go this distance, I'm going to have had walked that far, and then I'm going to have to still go a little bit farther, so I'm going to have to add those 2 numbers. Let's see if I could do that. So 11 plus 13. Then I've got to come around this corner. That's going to be another 11. And 13 more to go all the way completely where I started. Could I do this some other way? Maybe I could use my doubles and think about it like that. Or I could break apart those numbers. Let's see, what would be easier for me to do? Maybe I can make this a 10 and a 1, and this a 10 and a 3. And so I know I'm going to have to duplicate that again. So I know 2 10s is 20. And a 1 and a 3 is 4, so that must be 24. One of the things I remember from the math course is that when I was multiplying by 2, because we're repeating those same numbers again, I could possibly multiply that 24 by 2. Let's see. Did that tell me my perimeter? Let's see. So 20 times 2, which would be 40. And that would make sense. I'd have 4 10s if I broke all those numbers apart. and then I would have two fours, so that would be 48. So it is 48 feet. I want to be precise. Remember, mathematicians are always precise. Feet around the whole length of my room. I just thought about something else I could do. What if I had to figure out how much room is inside? That would be interesting. I wonder what that term is for figuring out how much room is inside. If you think you know that, you can say, yes, I do. You're right, it is. We're going to figure out that area, right? We could do the area of what's inside. So let's remember those dimensions again. We said we had 11 by 13, and we want to make very, very clear that we're talking about feet here. We had the same over here, 11 feet and 13 feet down here, and there was a door that swung out. So let's see. If I know that perimeter was the one that was going around the outside, what would be the one that we would do inside? Did you think about multiplying them? Which two numbers do I need to use to just multiply? I just need the length and the width, right? Okay, let's see. So if I did 11 times 13, how many of you remember something called partial products? Well, with partial products, we can take these apart in different places. Okay, so we're going to take them apart in those pieces just like we did before. So we would have a 10 times a 10. That's for these. We would have a 10 times the 3, because all I'm doing is breaking this apart a little bit more. Let's see, so we'd have 10, actually this should be a 1, sorry, because this is the 11 times the 10 and the 11 times the 3. And then for the 13, we'd have a 13 times the 10, and we'd have a 3 times the 1. Okay, let's see. So we have 100, we have 3, we have 130, we have that. We'd add all those numbers up together to figure out how much was inside. 236, goodness gracious. But what's really important about thinking about this is that we would know that would be feet squared. The reason it would be feet squared is because we did more than 1 square foot that we were counting together by. So hopefully you guys can think about some other math problems that you might encounter throughout your day. But one of the things that I would also like to do is think more about what could be some things that you may have as far as a curse that could come upon you, not just because you had read this book, Math Curse. Remember in the very last part of the book, and he talked about having broken his math curse because he knew a little bit more about what was going on in the math. But then he noticed science as being a curse. Could you think about having a curse that could be related to science and seeing science everywhere in your world? I can think of a few things that might be cursed with if I was thinking about science. Maybe another would be, what if you were cursed with music? What if everything that you saw happened to be in the form of a song or a musical note or something that would come on anytime you looked any one direction? Maybe it's a particular song that just can't get out of your head and you're cursed with that music. What if this is something that's in reading. When you read a particular word or you see a particular thing, what would you do if that came upon you and you had to figure out how to break the curse? Would you have to read something and get rid of the curse? All of these things could be anywhere that you see or that you find in relationship to having a curse. I would like for you, if you could use one of your journals that you have at home, think about more problems that could be any types of these curses. And remember, we were talking about these are ideas that you can have in relationship to things that you do every day, something that comes up in your schedule during the day that you have to do. Could be a question that you have. Like, I wonder, how would I figure out what's better to make eggs with? Is it better to make eggs with something, bake a cake with eggs, or is it better to bake a cake with some flour? Is it better to bake a cake with milk? Could be things like that you're just thinking about with experiments that could be of any kinds, of any sorts that you could do, not just with math. Think about situations that you face in your everyday life and how that could relate. These things could all be parts of your day that you might feel that are things that you've been cursed with that you want to try and figure out how to break that curse with. And as we've learned in our story, the one true way to break a curse on something is to be able to figure out more about that particular subject. So if it's a musical curse that you have, maybe you need to learn a little bit more about music and different types of music. There could be several different things that could be coming up in and around music that you were doing. If you were cursed with dance, would you spontaneously break into dance in different places? I know I have done that, and my family has wondered what's going on with me. What has she been cursed with? I've got the movement in me. I know, I do. But how would I break that curse? Would I have to learn more about math or more about dance in order to break that curse? There's so many different things that could be broken if you learn a little bit more about them. Science has always been one of those things that I've been fascinated with and have wondered how to break those curses with. I like to cook, and that's one of my favorite ways to break that curse when I'm thinking about math and science is to kind of use those measurements, those fractions and those things to see what kinds of experiments, what kinds of wondrous things that I could come up with. I hope you have enjoyed our reading today and to write a little bit about what's been going on with the math curse that we were trying to break today. It's been very exciting to want to read this book to you. I know I've read this book before to my students, and it's been very enlightening for them to be thinking about math and all the different ways that it is around them and how they can truly learn more about math and break that math curse around them. I've really enjoyed working with you today, and I hope that you continue to think about math in lots of different ways. And I want to thank you for joining us today at home with APS. I'm Mrs. Sears, and have a good day.